Okay, so let's start rolling again.
Okay.
Ali, welcome.
Camille, thanks for having me.
Listen, first of all, I want to say from our last sit down, that's almost a year ago, we got a lot of good comments, and
nice.
a lot of people asked if we wanted to do it again. And when I'm looking at past year, I would say that a lot has changed. And I wanted to make this video a bit more about something that we recently spoke about a lot together.
Yeah.
For the people who don't know me yet, my name is Camille. I also go by the name of Trading Wizard, and on this channel I share more about the reality of day trading instead of all of the nonsense you see. So free signals, copy groups and all of the stuff. I would just want to show you what it really takes. I made more than 950x in the market, and this is what I show now.
Yeah, I was with you that day. The 950x, I remember we were looking at the market cap go up and up and up and up, and I've never seen you sell something and then suddenly just a big candlestick down, you know, and it was great, and we had to celebrate
with McDonald's.
With McDonald's, staying humble as always.
And last time when you were sitting here, you were not very personal on shows on the socials.
No, not
right now, in I think it is less than a year, you grew to 70k followers, if I'm right.
So at the moment we're on 90s. We're in the 90s, and I think I started posting roughly in April. Roughly, heavily at least.
For the people who don't know, this is Ali. He is one of my best friends. He is a economist, and most of the time when we're looking at our lives, we do the exact opposite of each other, and I would say that is what makes good friends.
100%.
One of the reasons why I wanted to sit down again is because I recently have been pretty vocal about certain sectors that I want to make my role in the space.
Yeah.
So for the people, one of my biggest goals is to become a billionaire. This is not something easy, and this is not something you're just going to do with trading, but this is something you have to almost, I would say, leverage the world for. And I would say that the only way to actually accomplish stuff like that is by being very early in certain sectors. I would say that the majority of my wealth I made it through being very early in one sector. That's of course the blockchain industry. I've been in there since 2016, 17, and active trading it since 2019, 2020. And that is just one of the sectors. And when I'm looking at my Instagram now, I have around 150,000 followers on Instagram, and I've shared a bit more about, for example, some robots, and I've shared more about certain sectors that I've been diversifying almost in. And when I showed you my robot, you were basically one of the prime examples why I said, okay, and this is why you need to educate yourself on it.
100%. Educate yourself and don't be scared of it. I was terrified of it.
So in this video, I want to go for a couple of topics where I am going to put my biggest bets on for the upcoming 5 to 10 years. And I want to see your vision on this as well, because you have, for example, a very different sector that you want to touch into. Ali has been very vocal about becoming or scaling into his position in gold and in silver. Those paid off pretty well.
They've done quite nicely.
Gold did an all-time high
every other day.
Yeah, but today they had a quick flash crash.
4,000. No, today's 4,200.
Okay, good.
Last time I checked. Maybe something's happened. But at the moment, I'm interested in another sector. What I find quite funny is, at least with my time horizon, as soon as it's in the news, and I feel like it's the same with you, I'm bored of it, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
So in January, February, I wrote to my clients an article on silver, and we talked about it. I also spoke to Vincent about it as well, because you understand the technical analysis, which is not my strong suit at all.
Yeah.
And I look at it from the fundamental economic perspective.
Yeah. And
whenever we both massively agree on something, it's a fantastic thing.
Yeah. And I would say that is what makes a good investor. It's saying when everyone calls you crazy, I love this stuff. Yeah. And when everyone calls you crazy because you don't believe in it anymore, that's so. For example, to put a prime example in this, this month I end the month with one of my biggest shorts in my entire life. While the entire market was screaming that the market would go up and that we would see new all-time highs soon and this and this and this, I was one of the only ones who publicly shorted the markets. I did this on my YouTube as well. I did this on my Instagram. Same goes for the S&P. It took a pretty hard dive. I was able to short this, and this was not a very popular thing to do. I did this in 2021 as well. Same goes for buying the bottom. And these are the things that I think this is what makes an investor. It's being the guy who says, hey, everyone won't like this opinion, but in my opinion, we're heading here now. And I think that this is something you did amazingly with gold.
Yeah, thank you.
I laughed at you for gold as well, I have to confess.
No, I always have the analogy, and I think you'll be able to relate to it, that I try and be outside of the ocean. So if you look at the financial markets, if you use this analogy at least, you've got schools of fish that will be like your, whether it's a group of retail traders, not traders, but investors in a specific direction, or brokers, and then you've got your sharks, you've got your whales. And as an economist, I want to be above the water. I want to be able to see everything and know that, you know, if there's a shark coming in that direction, the school of fish is going to go there. So I'm going to actually conserve my energy in that direction, so that when the school of fish move, I can grab whatever I want to grab.
But what would you name yourself in the ocean? Like, would you name yourself the fisherman, or would you name yourself a?
No, I was just some. I always refer to myself as an observer.
Because when you're looking at the ocean, how you refer to it, I would say is water. Then the fish are the people who play with the money.
The fish.
And that for me, sometimes when I'm looking at the Economist, I always think, yes, a lot of them are right at certain places, but how much did they benefit from it? Yeah.
So I view economists. No offense to my fellow, I view them as fish often in a school of fish. So when you talk to them, when I talk to them, they can tell you a lot about swimming in a corporate setting. And what they see is another economist there, another one there, and then one in front. But what they don't see is exactly where they're heading to. They're very good at giving you advice. So when I go to the conferences and I speak with them, they're very good at giving you advice on how to conserve your energy whilst you're following the school. But what they're often massively blindsided to is there's a shark headed right to you, or you're about to hit a waterfall. So I like to sort of be above that.
From someone who comes from a pretty traditional form of finance, so you, what was your view on guys like, for example, my team and me? Because I'm curious about that, because when I'm looking at Ali, he always was surrounded by, I would say, more TradFi, so more traditional finance. And then you became friends with me, and I introduced you to, I would say, more of the new world of.
100%.
How was this for you?
It was actually quite eye-opening, because bear in mind, born and raised in Oxfordshire, so everything that we did was very old school, and the way in which I sort of operated was very old school. And I found absolute brilliance. So I also do lecturing, and I remember the year that we met, that summer I went back to the UK to teach, and I had this classroom in front of me, and I remember you said, why are you not collaborating with your classroom? You're just dumping information on them and basically doing memory tests. He was like, why don't you actually work with them and apply their knowledge in the real world live? And then I looked at the classroom differently. I looked at it as, not only am I in a place of privilege to be able to be at the front, but I'm in a place of privilege to have access to their brains as much as they have access to my brain. So then I started, with the permission of my seniors and with the permission of my clients, working on client projects with the classroom. They benefited from it massively, and the clients benefited from it massively. And I think that with you, Vincent, the rest of the team, the way that you guys operate is, it's like I never liked working with very bureaucratic companies. I always preferred entrepreneurs, and you guys were in a market that, as a traditional outsider, very skeptical. But seeing why you've picked that market made so much sense. Seeing how you leverage the information, the communication, and everyone's individual interests. I thought it was brilliant.
I would say when you're looking at that is the reason why I wanted to make this video. Again, one of my biggest goals is to become a billionaire, and this won't come easy, of course. And my way of going about this is by nailing every sector.
Yeah.
And the blockchain sector was number one. But
Yeah.
again, I have multiple sectors that I want to go through in order to achieve my goal of becoming a billionaire. And I wanted to walk through these sectors, and I wanted to see your opinion, so the opinion about an economist,
Yeah.
on someone who is more in the new world of finance, basically.
Yeah, sure.
And when I'm looking at the blockchain space and how I leverage it and how Ali explained it, it's very simple. I was an early mover in big projects. So I was in the ICO of Polkadot. I was one of the first investors of Luna, for example. I was, of course, Toshi. I made 950x. I was an early mover in every sector. Now, in order to leverage this in the right way, I needed a team. So how was I'm going to do this? I was never present on social media. I didn't add any social media. I moved to Dubai when I was 18. Because I was always like, I don't want to be eaten by an algorithm. But then I realized in order to build a team, I need to have the right minds around me, and I need to leverage that in the best possible way. So that's when I started the social media. That's when I started attracting people to my page, because I knew the people who I will make content for, and I will try to make educational content, they are the ones who I potentially can hire for my team. I'm going to put them through an entire university almost, so I will show them exactly what I do and how I do it, so that if they will do it, I can basically use all of their brain power and see maybe if they go through my strategy, they will become better at it than me, and I can benefit from this. And now I have a group of more than 100 traders that are literally trading my strategy, and the only thing I have to do is every single morning hop on a call with them, see what they are looking at, and they basically do all of the hard work. And this is leverage one, basically. Now the other sectors that I wanted to talk about is number one, it's robotics. So that's the first sector. Then we have artificial intelligence. This is something I've been a very early mover on as well. I was one of the first to actually use ChatGPT. I was one of the first to be vocal about it, to use it, to make it a mandatory thing in my program as well, that everyone needed to train it as much as possible. And then I want to go into quantum computing, since I think that if you leverage those for the upcoming 10 years, you put yourself at a pretty interesting spot, because I think that, again, robotics now might seem very far away. Artificial intelligence might seem, it's just ChatGPT. And when you're looking at quantum computing, I think a lot of people, they don't even know what it is at the moment. There was one sector that you wanted to talk about as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still halfway through my report, but we were having a conversation about this earlier, and just for some context with where my head is at, is I think a lot of people do view inflation as a fear, but I don't think they're viewing it as big of a fear as it is going to be. So I think we've experienced for the past 2 years specifically asset inflation, and then the inflation's trickled into the speculative asset class. Now I've seen signals of it in the luxury category. The next category it will fall into is going to be your utility goods. And the reason that I say this is you can view it this way. When you get asset inflation, everyone thinks that their net worth has increased, and you get that wealth effect that drives into consumption. You get this GDP growth that I would say is overconfident, but then a lot of people take that overconfidence and they say, I can speculate a bit more. And then they go into the speculative markets, and then that has also been going up quite a lot. After that, where do the people with the money go? They want to buy luxury goods. So you end up seeing price increases there as well. If you have those three, emboldened with capital, emboldened with confidence, suddenly utilities are very, very necessary. You've got, let's say, I'm not going to name any brands, but let's say you've got a watchmaker trying to buy very, very niche machinery and very niche engineers to build a very specific type of metal component that goes inside a watch. They're going to be competing with someone that's in robotics for the exact same thing. So utilities generally are going to be increasing. And after it hits the utility sector, then it hits your consumer prices, and that's when the CPI figure is unbearable, unimaginable. My framework with investing, but with economics, is always to try and make sure that people have the best standard of living possible.
Yeah.
That's my motivator. And the thing is by the time it hits the consumption markets, it's arguably too late. So my energy and my attention is very much on the producers for those consumption goods that are necessary.
Yeah.
Which is, food is where I'm looking at quite a lot now.
Yeah.
I could be massively wrong.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good track record with it, we'll see. Obviously I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket, but I'm specifically looking at fertilizers and farming equipment, which is a strategy that I've done in the past, and I think now is a
and I think
good
that,
time
that
to go
when
for
you're
it.
looking at that sector, I think a lot of people, they don't understand how big certain, so when you're looking at, for example, original tomato seeds and all of the stuff,
Yeah.
there are so many things in the food sector that a lot of people, they don't think about how important it actually is and how much something is worth.
Yeah.
Now, when we're walking into these sectors, I would say one of the first understandings that people need to have is every single time when you are looking at those sectors, you have to be okay with being misunderstood. And I think that Ali just did something amazing, and that is saying, I can be completely wrong here, and that's completely fine. And I would say that is something a lot of people can learn from, because a lot of people, they jump into a sector and they say, I need to be right.
No.
Every single time when I go into something, I see the money is lost.
Yeah.
And I would say that gives me the confidence to learn more about it, because I don't have to be right.
100%.
I just know, hey, if it makes sense, it makes sense. And what you just said, I think, is an amazing way to go about that.
Thank you. We both share that. One thing it's an unorthodox indicator, and I would like to know where your head's at with it. One thing that I've always used as a bit of a signal, at least for myself, is if 70% of the people that I tell whatever I'm thinking about, whether it's silver in January, whether it was gold and gold mining companies of last year, 70% of the people think that you're wrong, an idiot. And I mean, I had a conversation with the CFO of one of the largest commodity analysts in the world. They downgraded a gold mining company the week that I invested in it.
Yeah.
And because they downgraded it, I then bought more.
Yeah.
And we had a differing opinion.
I think it's the same thing, like why I wanted to make this video. Literally this week, so for the people who don't know, I invest heavily into robots, like actual robots. And I have a actual robot dog in my house. This is a robot dog that they use in wars. This is a robot dog that is used for a lot of things. And the moment I posted this on my social media, I think I got 20 or maybe no more, like 30 DMs of people telling me that I was crazy to have such a thing in my house, and that I was stupid, and that it would wake up in the middle of the night and spy in my house. I think it's a battery.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at this, that is the exact reason why I have it.
Yeah.
Because people are so afraid. And I think that there's a very simple quote, and that is, what people don't understand, they fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was the thing with AI, this is still the thing with blockchain, this is still the thing with robotics. What people fear, what people don't understand, they fear. And I think that when you're looking at robotics, this is the biggest thing. What I want you to understand is that when you're looking at robotics, it can change so many things that seem very small, but it can change everything for a business.
Yeah.
So, for example, like the little things in supermarkets in the Netherlands, for example, you don't have a lot of people actually scanning the groceries anymore, because you have now systems that actually replaced it. Now, when you're looking at this, a lot of people, they will of course say, yeah, no, but it's great, it's bad because now all of the jobs are gone and this and this and this. Well, I see it as those jobs that are gone, the people who did that now can leverage their brain actually in a better
100%.
way, instead of doing a mindless job that can easily be taken by a robot.
They can, like what we always talk about is that whether it's autonomous driving, whether it's grocery store, do you remember during COVID when they classed the grocery scanners as essential services? The thing is that everyone was told to stay home. I'm just roll with the narrative that was predominant, right, was that you have to stay at home, otherwise you may die. But if you work in a grocery store, you're essential, so you have to stay there.
Yeah.
If we have another pandemic or whatever the situation is, I'm just rolling with a narrative. I'm not saying this is my fixed opinion on the thing. It would be better to have that as an automated job to decrease the risk of transmission.
Yeah.
But then on top of that is you're able to free up the supply of labour, and hopefully those individuals will find something else to do which will lower the cost of production elsewhere, that will improve your standard of living.
And again, I think that if you genuinely fear that you will lose your job for a robot, one, you are not, in my opinion, making yourself useful enough for the world. And two, how you should view it, in my opinion, is if you are afraid, learn about it and see how you can leverage it. And I think that is the exact reason why I wanted to make these videos, to educate people of, don't be afraid because you are uneducated. You can read one book about it and you can be like no more than 99% of the people.
Yeah.
And especially when you're looking at AI, for example, it's the same thing. I think that with AI we have one problem now, and that is that it's going so fast that we cannot compete anymore or accept it in our brain. So I think it was 3 years ago when I started making it mandatory to learn about AI towards my clients. And in the beginning they said, yeah, but this is not going to be useful for me, and this and this and this. I said, how much are you willing to pay to be with the smartest guy in the room for 1 hour? The answer for everyone was the same, everything I have. I said, okay, interesting. Open up ChatGPT and ask the questions that you wanted to ask the smartest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh fuck. Like I said, most of the questions that you wanted to ask the guy who is the smartest in the world, you never actually asked the question or you studied the topic yourself because you're too lazy.
Yeah.
Same goes for people who, for example, they say, yeah, and I really want to have the opportunity once to sit down with Elon Musk or with Jeff Bezos. And then I ask them, okay, how many books did you read about them? Yeah, 0.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has more than 4 books. Jeff Bezos, same thing.
You have a great quote that I always attribute to you, which is buying a book. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
It's like implementing a USB stick of someone's brain in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm such a fan of that.
Yeah. Because most of the questions that they wanted to ask during that hour that they pay for, they could have filtered them out by actually just reading a book that the guy put out. Like, what you need to understand is once you are the level that they are, it's not just about the money anymore, but it's also about transferring their knowledge into other people.
There's something that you told me that I thought was really, really solid with regards to autobiographies. I am not someone who reads a lot of autobiographies, to be honest, and you have bookshelves on bookshelves of autobiographies from people that I know, people that I don't know, and you go all in. You'll read 3 books on Elon Musk, different authors and different things, and you'll go fully locked in, finish it maybe in 1 or 2 days, or 3. There was something that you said specifically about Elon Musk, I don't know if you remember it, which was at some points, because he's a human, he makes mistakes, and that slowed him down.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said on that?
There were multiple ones.
But you said something fascinating, which was, and I might be paraphrasing it slightly, but the way that I remember it was, you said, I want to see what was the things that slowed him down, and if I'm in a position like that, or
I can avoid it.
I can avoid it. And I thought that was brilliant.
And this is something I tried to do with everything, because they went through a path that I wanted to still go through. And I want to know, like, okay, for example, they catch momentum in a later stage. I catched it here. Hey, here they catch momentum at the same stage. What slowed down their momentum, and am I doing the same thing? So for example, when you make your first big sum of money, so let's say for example, once you reach over the first 10 mil, you will become slower. At least that's what I had. I became way slower because I thought, like, I don't have to work anymore, and now I can be like the CEO and look at it from a bigger perspective. And once I had that, like I slowed down so hard. And then I read a couple of books about people who had the same thing. And then I realized, okay, the way how I made that initial figure was by working my ass off in this way. I didn't make this money by sitting down on my ass and doing absolutely nothing and having an ego that's here. So maybe it's better to go back into that one and just adjust it into another way instead of just slowing back now because you reached a certain number. Because I'm not even close to where I want to be.
A question that you have answered to an extent, but I want you to kind of go deeper, not just for the viewers but also for myself.
Yeah.
Because even when the cameras aren't off, I'll poke you with questions, you'll poke me back. When you have to keep that curiosity alive, and you have to always scan for the next best thing, but then also go out of your comfort zone with a brand new topic.
That's why I bought the robots and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I for example, I don't know a lot about actual programming, but now with AI you have something called vibe coding, what's basically changing the entire programming space. So I have programmer friends of mine who made like multiple big figures in the programming space, and they say I'm programming now for more than 10 years, and almost 80% of what I did then, you can do it now by just vibe coding. Yeah. And those are the things where I'm like I learn so much by just jumping into the deep and say, hey, I know nothing about the robotics yet, but how hard it is actually to build one myself. So that's when I bought the 3D printer, that's when I bought all of the stuff, because I wanted to see how quickly can I adapt to all of those things, and how hard is it actually to pick it up. And then you realize that it's not. If you just stick your head down for 20 days, you will 100%. Become better at something than 99% of the people.
One thing that I really hope the audience picks up on is the fact that, and this is what I've learned from being around you, is your application is always very, very intense and very heavy, and you do it instantly.
Yeah. When I jump into anything, I have two non-negotiables. One, speed.
Yeah.
So how fast do I actually take action on it? And then two, intensity.
Okay,
speed and intensity for me are everything. If I want to do something, or if I want to learn about something, I write it down and I take action the same day.
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't want to be just somewhere in my head and then it just becomes a loose topic.
Yeah.
I don't want to have any loose threads in my head. Why? Because I have too much ADHD for that.
Yeah.
So it needs to be out of the way.
Yeah, it needs to be done ASAP.
Yeah, because I want to know, is it worth it to go deeper into it or not? Yeah. Then when I'm looking at the efficiency, so for example, if you're watching this and you watched my channel, last 2.5 months I lost more than 19.5 kilos now. It's quite some. Because I know one thing. If I want to be good at anything, the speed is one, but the like how hard I go on it is one of the most important things. Where I know I need to become the best at this, so I need to surround myself with the best. I'm starting golf now.
Yeah, I was about to mention it.
How many things how many times have I mentioned golf this week?
This week, I think 5, and we're on Wednesday.
Yeah, I just went to the golf court yesterday. I had a lesson the day before. I had a lesson. Why? Because I started. Now I want to become the best at it, and I think that is just something that, in general, is a character trait that everyone can have.
Yeah, your competitiveness is great, but one.
It's not like I hate competing in the sense of.
No, but it's play.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not competitive. I have to beat you.
Yeah.
It's competitive play. Like when earlier on our way here, the car keys. Make a game out of it. Whoever finds it first. Yeah. They were in the car. You know? It's like, you know. But that I always thought was great because you can make anything actually engaging and fun. And I don't know if you have this. I actually haven't really asked. But when you're doing something that's deep work, do you play games with yourself whilst doing it?
Always.
If that makes sense, right?
Yeah, always.
Like for me with maths, I always viewed this is very niche and odd, but I always viewed it as like a game of Risk in a sense of you've got, let's say it's 400 minus 300. You've got your 400 here and your 300 here, and then mentally I would see them clash, and then you're left with that 100. It's like you make these mental games for yourself.
I would make it more like a time efficient thing where I would say if I finish it then I can do this. Yeah. No, and on the competing thing, why I said I don't really like competing in a sense is because I think what a lot of people do is they compete with someone who shouldn't even be on the board, in my opinion. So they are competing with someone who they hate from their previous school or anything else. But the problem is in my opinion, you should outgrow them by tenfold.
Yeah.
And if you're going to compete with them, you're just trying to beat their metrics and their stats.
Yeah.
Well,
you're in their league.
Yeah. What I'm just always doing is I want to make I want to set the tone. And I would say that is like I never called someone out on Instagram. I never seen someone as a opponent in the Instagram game, in the social media game, in the trading game. Why? I want to be like people can compete with me. I'm not competing with them because I want to mark myself on the card as this is Camille, basically. Now, this was a quick side quest again. It's something we are pretty good at. Again, to jump into this. So one of the reasons why I am going heavy on robotics is one, again, I think that we can make the efficiency of the world. I think we can tenfold it, and I think we can leverage something that robots don't have a lot, and that is the human brain. And I think that now currently we are wasting a lot of brain power by doing tasks that they don't have to do, but robots can do it. So that's for me a pretty big one. China, in my opinion, is at the moment one of the most interesting markets when it comes down to robotics, because they are pretty fast in it. Then when you're looking at AI, I think that a lot of people, they should look way further than just a chatbot. AI comes in a lot of ways. It comes in agents, it comes in a lot of forms. I think that you should, so if you're watching this, after the video, what I would do if I was you, I would get yourself a pen and a notebook and just write down 5 things of how you can try to leverage AI in your daily workflow. So when I'm looking at myself, how I lost all of my weight was basically by just chatting to GPT and saying, hey, how can I do this and this and this? Ask yourself for the most optimal sleep schedule. Ask yourself for, hey, ChatGPT, you know me now for a while. Which 5 books would you recommend to my current situation? Or say, hey, ChatGPT, I want you to be X, and then you need to be the guy who you look up to. This is my entire situation. This is what I earn in a month. This is what my tasks are. This is what my job is. How can we make sure that I 10x my life in the upcoming 3 months? And it will make a plan with you. I want you to try to leverage the AI that we currently have as much as possible, and then try to learn more from it and see how you can leverage it for other people.
I'll tell you a prompt that was a game changer for me, at least. I said to ChatGPT, I said, everything you know about me now, and then I gave it more information than it may not have known. I said, rate how effectively compared to the people a step above me in all of these domains, and then you give the domains, how much do I utilize your full capacity? And it said 7 out of 10. And I said, tell me exactly what I need to do to leverage in the new way.
That's a beautiful one.
And then you say, what do users that are miles ahead of me, what have they done and what tools have they created with you? And then it gives you insights.
I would say that it's almost, and this might be a bit controversial, but I would say it is better at the moment to focus on prompt engineering than on programming, for example. Because prompt engineering, in my opinion, will be literally the future if you want to accomplish anything big when it comes down to AI. Now, besides this, then we have quantum computing, and quantum computing will basically like 10x everything what comes down to internet soon. I think that when you're looking at quantum computing, I think that for a lot of people they don't understand enough yet, and that's why I wanted to give like a small exercise in this video as well. After this video, try to watch at least 3 or 5 videos on YouTube about quantum computing and ask ChatGPT, hey, let's make a game plan for in the upcoming 2 weeks to make me a expert level quantum computing genius almost. And when you're looking at this, not only will you learn more about the sector that I'm very interested in, but you can also see again the power of another sector that I'm big in, and that is AI. Now, for me, one of the pathways to go from X towards becoming a billionaire is very simple. I leverage the blockchain in the best possible way, and the reason why I believe in the blockchain, not just trading, it's basically because it gets rid of the middleman, and the middleman is where all of the corruption in the world comes from. So in the blockchain space, I trade myself up. That is basically my money generator, and then when I'm looking at the money multiplier, it is diversifying into all of these sectors that can grow a lot and that are not very big at the moment. I would say that I want to know a bit more about your fertilizers, and I would say that then we're topping it off.
Well, the report is halfway through, so I don't want to
give them too much.
I don't want to, because the thing is halfway through the report, there may be something in there that makes me say, oh, I'm so incorrect.
Yeah.
And actually, but what I'm currently looking at mainly is because fertilizer is so necessary. Because if you have a problem with food prices in your country, instantly you're going to have social unrest. It's one of the key things to life. So every state has an emergency emergency act that can allow them to interfere with food production, food supply, for security reasons. So currently I'm just evaluating all of these states. From the fertilizer perspective, it can go one of two ways, different states geographically, it depends. Some of them that are very good fertilizer producers, they may have export bans, which means that if I've invested in a producer in that country, my profit is completely shot because I can't export it. But then that means that globally, the other ones that are not part of that export ban, they will receive the highest profit margins. And the reason I like this sector,
so I would say a fertilizer, guys, for the people who don't know, how I always see it, it's basically steroids for the ground.
Pretty much, yeah. pretty
so
much.
So how a bodybuilder uses steroids for growth of muscle, this is basically steroids for for the ground to produce food.
Yeah, and like the reason I'm very, very keen on this is it's so necessary to give the producers in as much capital as physically possible so they can increase that supply of fertilizers, lower that average price, so that when food prices increase, people aren't burdened by it. That's, like I said, my whole thing is if the standard of living can be better for everyone, that's my motivation in it. So that's where my head's at with that.
Well, then guys, to top it off, we have blockchain, we have fertilizers, we have robotics, we have quantum computing, and we have artificial intelligence. Good luck. Thank you all for watching again. Again, if you like more of these kind of concepts, and if you like more to see the reality of what the life of a day trader is really all about, don't forget to hit this like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next one. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you very much.